Hello, fellow musicians and learners. My name is Jordan Evans. I'm a full-time piano teacher and a musician, and today I'm going to talk about 7 habits of highly effective musicians. These aren't the 7 habits, there's not only 7, and these are just some things that I came up with that has helped me a lot, that I hope can help you guys, and that when I teach lessons is something that I instill in my students and something I practice on my own. So if you guys have anything that's helped you in your learning or your practicing, let me know in the comments. I'd love to see what you're doing. I'd like to learn from you guys, and we can talk about it. The first habit is practicing consistently. Over the years, I've gone through periods of my time where I practice a lot, and then I'll go a month without really practicing everything. Or I'll go one day of the week practicing 4 hours and the rest of the week not doing anything. The time that I've gotten the most growth is when I'm sitting down every day, even if it's just for 30 minutes, and consistently getting into what I'm doing. This is something that when I set goals for myself, and when I set goals from the people who take lessons from me, I really preach consistency is key in whatever we're learning. So for a lot of my students, I'll set extremely attainable goals where I tell them this is what I want for 10 to 15 minutes for 5 to 6 days this week. Super easy, but I would rather them do something like that than to only practice for 2 days for 1 hour. Even though they're spending more time, it ingrains more in you if you're doing it every day consistently. So for people who work, are in school, or aren't doing music full time, but you want to be improving, just know that 15 minutes a day, which is like not watching Netflix for 15 minutes at the end of your day or getting up 15 minutes early in the morning, that can make a huge difference over time. If you're setting goals and really practicing and focusing for those 15 minutes, you can get massive results. And the second one is someone who sets goals for themselves and then keeps track of their progress. So right here, I have my trusty practice notebook where I schedule out all my practices, and you guys can see it is packed, jam-packed. And I think I started this one like mid-2020. Yeah, so I got all this in here, and this is just where I log my practice. And what really helps me, and the days that I don't plan out my practice, I really get nothing done. So the night before, I'll schedule out how long do I want to spend on this piece, what do I want to learn tomorrow, how long do I plan on spending. And on those days, I do so much better. And it's actually scientifically proven, you guys can look it up, that people who write down what they want to do, whether that's a New Year's resolution, they're more likely to stick to it because you've made a covenant with yourself and you've almost promised yourself and made that plan for the future. That's setting the goal. Now, tracking your progress. So at the end of your practice, or even at the end of the week of practices, say, what did I do? Where was I proud of myself? Where could I do better next week maybe? And I think that self-reflection really helps us grow. The third habit is active listening. So musicians need to be listening to music. We need to be having things put in for inspiration so that we can put out and kind of replicate what we've heard. But this goes farther than that. So whatever piece you're working on, really listen to it and kind of think about what's the phrasing, what's the technique used. Listen to different versions of it. So say you're learning for Elise, listen to a bunch of different recordings because everyone's gonna play it just a little bit differently. And you can take ideas from that you put into your own interpretation of the piece. And then going outside of your comfort zone. So if you're someone who always listens to rock or always listens to pop, try out jazz, try out some classical. If you like Baroque music, listen to romantic music or something like that. Just look for ways to stretch yourself and to gain more understanding. The fourth one is practicing technique. So for whatever instrument you're learning or whatever skill you're learning, there's always gonna be fundamentals. For piano and other instruments, we call that our technique. So this is our scales, our exercises, our arpeggios. And I know it's not the most exciting, but we really need to commit time to learning these scales and exercises and whatnot. So, and I'll just show you an example. Most music follows very predictable patterns, and whatever instrument you play, you need to know how all your scales work, major, minor. You need to know how your chords work, your arpeggios, triad chords or seventh chords. So, like major scales, minor scales. Yeah. You need to know all your triad chords, the inversions of those. Oh, I'm playing the wrong pedal. Yeah, all that stuff. Seventh chords, how to play seventh chords. All that stuff, or the different types of seventh chords. All that should be muscle memory, and here's why. In every piece of music you'll ever see, they follow these technique patterns. So if you can play them in your warm-up, so before I play piano, I spend like 15 minutes just warming up. And if you master these scales, these arpeggios, whenever you see them presented in a piece, you'll say, oh, that's easy. So a really challenging piece, and I'll think of a couple. Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata Third Movement. It's seen as a very advanced piano piece, but it can all just be broken down into arpeggios. So if you are someone who's practiced all your arpeggios, it's actually really easy. That first pattern of the piece is just let me see. No. Yeah, there it is. It's just the C sharp minor chord that we're arpeggiating. There's 4 notes. 3 notes: C sharp, E, G sharp, C sharp. And then you just go to the next one. So if you know that arpeggio, it's super, because you've practiced it in your practice, you can be reading your music and say, oh, the next 4 measures are an arpeggio of something I already know. The next one is the same, it's a G sharp major arpeggio. First inversion. And the end of that piece is really iconic, and it's actually just an arpeggio of the same variation of what we started with. And I think it's the C sharp minor arpeggio we started on. So it starts on the offbeat. One, got that. Yeah, like that. Whoa, wrong notes. And so just by practicing your arpeggios every day, you can see music like that and say, I already know that, and it's just a puzzle. You just plug it in. So whatever instrument you're doing, learn all your scales, learn all your technique. It's gonna make your life so much easier. The 5th habit: look for ways to go outside of your comfort zone. In my life, I've always experienced the most growth every time that I've done something that I really didn't feel comfortable doing. A couple examples are even taking this job as a teacher. I've been teaching for a couple years now. When I first started, I was so afraid. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I had anything that was worth teaching, but I knew it was something I wanted to do in the future. So I said, well, why not just do it right now? I wasn't necessarily comfortable with it, but I took the opportunity and I kind of faked it till I made it. And since then, over the last 2 years, I've become much, much better of a teacher, and I plan on becoming an even better teacher. All that wouldn't have started if I didn't take that first step and go out of my comfort zone. Another example is playing gigs. Like, I just got a gig for a wedding last weekend. First wedding I've ever played. I've played other events, but not really like just myself playing music for a wedding. And I was really afraid. And even the day before, I was so nervous. I was like, can I do this? And then it went fine. Through doing that experience, I now know, this is something I'm capable of. But if I hadn't gone out of my comfort zone, I would have never learned that about myself. So ways that you can do this is even just playing in front of your family, starting a YouTube channel before you're ready to. Gosh, starting a YouTube channel has been awesome for me. Even though I haven't had that much success relatively on YouTube, it's been great for me to make these videos, and it's almost like having a conversation with myself and then just sharing with the world that I'm learning these things and keeping myself accountable. And yeah, like I said a second ago, playing in front of your family is awesome. I tell all my students, if you're nervous or you don't like performing, just start playing in front of your family and you start getting over that. In college, I would play in front of my girlfriend, who's now my wife, all the time, and even friends or anybody. I would be like, just come watch me play so I can practice being nervous. And that was really important for my growth. And the 6th habit of a highly successful musician is looking for instruction. So even right now, I have a teacher that I meet with bi-weekly. His name's Brett, and he's a film score composer and a professional pianist and a drummer and all kinds of stuff. And he just gives me guidance. So he helps me set goals. And that way, if there's 2 weeks where I'm not getting done what I need to get done, he holds me accountable for that. And I have someone that I can look up to. And what's so funny is Brett actually has a teacher who he still goes to, even though he's in his 40s and is a professional musician who's won awards for film score composition and is a studio musician. He still is being taught, which is crazy. Tiger Woods, for his entire career, best golfer of all time, always had a number of coaches who he got advice from. And you'll notice that the best people in every field are always looking to someone, even if they're not better than them, someone they can look to for advice and guidance is really important. And the final habit is looking for ways to teach other people what you're doing. I found the biggest growth in my musicianship has been teaching. Right now I have 33 students and I spend about 15 to 20 hours of my week teaching, which has been outstanding for my fundamentals as a musician. Spending all that time during the week explaining basic musical concepts, whether that's reading basic rhythms or understanding harmony or how melodies work, has been so key for just my understanding of how more advanced music works. My phrasing and articulation has gotten so much better. And what's really cool about this, you don't have to know that much to help somebody else. If you've been playing piano for 2 years now, there's someone who hasn't been playing piano at all. And whether that's a family member or a friend, or that's you making a YouTube video for beginner piano lessons or violin, guitar, whatever you play, look for ways that you can kind of share your knowledge with other people, and it'll really reinforce what you know and what you've been working on. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you could learn something from me. These are just 7 things that I've been thinking about, and I'm really into writing down my experience and tracking what I'm doing, and then I like to share it when I'm done. So if you like these 7 things, let me know which one you like. Let me know which ones you guys are applying, and let me know what things have helped you. If you like my content or if you like me, hit that subscribe button. like the video, leave a comment. I'd love to connect with you guys, and I'll see you all next time. Have a great day, and good luck practicing.